Pardon my French. Okay. Pardon my French again. Taiwan Special. Who says you can't belch on camera? Look, if I want to not belch on camera, I can choose to not belch on camera, but I'm allowed to belch on camera. Hold on, this isn't working. I've got to stop this. No, I'm going to let it go, but it says Podcast Weekly in the corner, and I've got it there. Now it says Taiwan Special. Okay. All right. What's going on in Taiwan? I think I'm praying for this. Taiwan needs to see the movie Braveheart. Taiwan needs to see the movie Braveheart. There's two reasons for this. One, they didn't see it when it came out. Taiwan has been generally uninterested in American movies until about the last 6 years. Marvel really paved the way in getting Taiwanese interested in American movies, especially the young people. 10 years ago when I came here, American movies would come out. There'd be no one in the theater. It'd be on the big main screen. No one was there. I was the only... Transformers 3... was it 3? No. It was Transformers 2. I was the only one laughing at the jokes. There weren't that many people there. Yeah, that was Transformers 2. Then, we get to the Marvel things and everybody's laughing. Now You See Me 2 showed midnight. The theater was packed. And when Mark Ruffalo spoke in Chinese, the audience erupted. They loved that. They applauded that. It was terribly pronounced, but he showed good effort. He showed good effort. I think if Mark Ruffalo lived in a Mandarin speaking country for a year, he'd probably pick it up quickly if he had a coach. But it sounded like he was going for the Cantonese sound. It was like it was something like that, and that's more of a Cantonese sound. I think he was trying to say, 我可以我讲给你. It's something like would have been a little bit more normal. Okay, all right. So, no, I'm not going to explain. I don't even know what it was he said. I'd have to go back and try to find out what he. No, but it's like, can't. Okay, you want me to explain the Cantonese? I can't speak Cantonese, but I hear it all the time. Cantonese, go to the Hong Kong Intergalactic Airport and you sit there and listen to them, and it's like I'm intentionally messing up the words, but it's this, like a lot of that. But then, Mandarin is quite simple and mechanical. 各位你好, ni hao. And then it will say, it's they don't have these long draw. There's a difference in the sound. Okay, so there you go. That's it. That's all you're going to get from me today. The difference between Cantonese and Mandarin as far as the sound of the song it sings. So he was pronouncing Mandarin correctly, but the drawn out words and the emphasis that it had. Cantonese. Oh, in House of Cards, the billionaire with the mustache, the president's buddy. Oh, no, his Mandarin was terrible. Oh, it was. I was embarrassed listening to it. I mean, it was like, 喂。我是对我想要打给你. Yeah, I mean, it was in that, like, to a Mandarin speaker, the way that, I mean, he was speaking ultra simple Mandarin, first of all. And the way it sounded it was overemphasized. It was definitely Beijing, which is fine. It's fine to do the Beijing. Beijing accent we're talking stands out like an upper posh, sort of as an upper posh, somewhat nose in the air, the snooty side of English British English among the English in England, and making things rather smooth and perhaps somewhat nasally in order to, it's even among, of course, even among various British accents, the northern and upper class posh pronunciation of the British English has a very distinguishable, sound to it, and the Beijing Mandarin, it's at the back of their throat, and it's very pretentious. And yes, I believe it is pretentious. It just sounds that way. I've had people from out in the country in Taiwan who have this thing that speaking in Beijing talk makes you somehow smarter. And just like watching Daniel Hannan yell at the EU, and you, Prime Minister, have done nothing but squander the resources of this Parliament. And listening to him go on and on and on, the Americans absolutely loved it because, there are two accents that make Americans think that they're listening to the epitome of intelligence and education and academia. One is the British English, of course, one of the most intelligent of them all. And then, of course, the other comes from those from India, and that probably is because many great ideas come from India through the professors at the Western universities. And so you've got these two accents that seem to sound like the smartness of it all. But normal English is really Chicago. I mean, Illinois means the land of normal speaking people. That's literally what Illinois means. There's this map I saw that what the names of all the states mean, like the Indian names or whatever. I don't know. Okay, so as I detract from the point, the mustache man, mustache billionaire bro in House of Cards. I don't care what his name was. His Chinese, he only did it a little bit in the beginning, and then that was it. Now the other Chinese in the film, he actually spoke with pretty good Chinese. It was pretty normal. If you want normal Chinese, you got to go to Taipei. That's where Chiang Kai-shek went. That's where the education was. But I've had kids out in the South, they get that Southern accent, so to speak, American English. Imagine people that Southern accent. Some kid decides that he needs to talk like they do in England, and so he decides to roll some of his words out, and it doesn't sound right. And, that's kind of how it comes across when kids in the country in southern Taiwan try to talk with the Beijing accent. And then you put that into English and they get their words all messed up. And it's like, dude, stop trying to be somebody else and just be yourself is what I actually have to say in order to get them to pronounce words correctly in ESL school. Okay, all right, a little bit of insider language stuff. But the guy, mustache bro from House of Cards, his Mandarin in that one beginning thing where he first showed up, it would sound like, hello, yes, I want that. Like, that's how it came across. The guy sounded like a moron. Now, to most English speakers, his pronunciation was good. It was just it was ultra slow. So I think probably to the actor's credit, he pronounced things rather well, and he probably learned that in a very quick jiffy. I think it would have been good if he'd had 6 months of coaching, so he could have said, you see, how else would you say? Oh, probably a proper answer would be, 喂，你好，对，我想要那个. Like if he could have sped it up a little bit, it could have been more impressive. But, okay. I mean, I would hire, if I were a director, I'd hire him, but I'd give him 6 months of coaching of Mandarin first. That's okay. So, I don't know. I guess I had to be the expert that complains about everybody. What was I going to talk about? The problem going on. Oh, Taiwanese movies. That's right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to get to that tomorrow.